of the things about me that may shock some people is that I am not as perfect a specimen of humanity as you may think. Allow me to explain. In 2012, I had LASIK in this eye. I'd always been pretty nearsighted, but I was becoming more and more nearsighted and less farsighted as I got older. So in 2012, as I said, I had LASIK in this eye. I had the option to get LASIK in both eyes, and then I would be able to be farsighted out of both eyes. The problem with that plan, as I saw it, was then I would have to lug around a pair of reading glasses for whenever I wanted to read or look at a computer, which is my job, any number of things. Closer than about arm's length away, I would have to put on reading glasses. I didn't want to do that. I reasoned that if I just had this eye corrected to be farsighted and left this one alone, I would have what they called monovision. And they said, well, some people get used to it, some people don't. I happen to be one of those people that got used to it. In other words, I'm not dizzy all the time or anything like that. And there for a long time, there was an overlap between my vision, where this eye could see out pretty clearly out to maybe 4 or 5 feet, and this eye could see pretty clearly from like 3 feet on. So there was a pretty good overlap where I could see perfectly fine out of both eyes. But for the most part, that wasn't the case. And for the most part, playing pool, I was using my right eye because the shots were further away than this. Perfectly fine. This is my dominant eye. I do not have the depth perception that I used to have because these two eyes are out of sync. And I guess I've gotten used to that. One of the things that I have to do is be sure I really pay attention to the angle of the shot as I come down. Because once I'm down here, this 12 ball, it's almost like a 2D perspective. It's almost like I was down here like this. Don't really have any idea what the angle is, so I have to see that as I go down. And I've kind of gotten used to that as well. One of the things I have not gotten used to is the fact that cuts to the right and cuts to the left are very different for me. I do not see them the same, and I don't make them with nearly the same amount of accuracy cutting the ball to my left. For example, well, let's go to this one first. If I want to cut this 15 into that pocket, this isn't that severe of a cut. I could have given a tougher example. But I line up here with my right eye. I come down, and I'm still seeing the shot with my right eye. My left eye is just kind of just there, just for the hell of it. I come over here to shoot this 12 into that pocket. Slight cut to my left this time. Again, I'm getting lined up with my right eye. When I come down, for some reason, being down close on the shot like this, my left eye wants to take over. It wants to be the one in charge of aiming this ball correctly. And the problem is, my left eye doesn't see at that distance very well at all. So I have had to come to grips with the fact that the shots are different, and I have to treat them differently. If I'm playing a game of straight pool, and I need one, and here I sit, I need to be cutting at 3, because that's a cut to my right. I have better success. Let me set this up so they're identical. These shots on paper are identical amounts of cut, you know what I mean. But I'm a hell of a lot better cutting this 3 in from there than I am cutting the 11. Because cutting the 11, or cutting the, why did I say 11? I do that a lot. I'll just say the wrong ball just randomly. I guess I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. Cutting the 12, which in theory, same amount of cut, well, it is the same amount of cut and everything as the other ball. It's just in a different direction. I come down, I can see the shot, I can see it just fine, I see it just fine. Now I can't see it anymore. Because my left eye is fighting with my right eye for who gets to be the one to look at the shot. So while I might be, whatever, 90% to cut that ball down there that way, I'm probably only 85% to cut the 12. Before I had the LASIK, I believe they were identical. Of course, my eyes were getting worse and worse over time, so I was probably 70% on each one. But they were identical. I truly believe that. Now here, even no matter how careful I am looking at this angle, once I get down here into shooting position, I basically see two 12s. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. I have two eyes. I see two 12s. When I was over here, my right eye was being a dominant eye. I only saw one. I only saw one object ball. The other eye was off doing whatever it was doing. But it wasn't involved in the shot. But cutting the ball to my left, I do see two 12s, and I kind of have to pick which 12 ball do I shoot at. And this is, well, it's irritating. And just about every time something like that costs me a game or a match or something, I think that it's time to get LASIK on this side. At least make my two eyes identical again as far as how far they can see and all that. And then sure, I'd have to lug around some reading glasses, but I am an old man, so that's kind of to be expected that eventually I would need reading glasses. I just keep putting it off. And I can, at times, shoot well enough to put these shots in, these cuts to my left in. And then it's like there's no problem at all. But it's like I have to have been shooting for a while. I can't just walk up cold and be cutting balls to the left as easily as cutting balls to the right, or even close. Because so much of it is guesswork. So much of it is guessing which one of those two object balls do I want to shoot at. And really, it's even a little bit more than that. I just don't see it as well. Just don't see it as well. The cut to the right, I saw just perfectly fine. Of course, making it's a different story. But I can see this one. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it all the way down here. But this 4, no. I can see it. See it. See it now. Now I can't. I see the inkling of the 4 ball being up there, but I don't see it clearly. Yeah, and this does bother me. And yeah, I imagine at some point I'm going to do something about it, and that something will probably be get LASIK in this eye and lug around reading glasses like an old man. Not looking forward to it, but I'm also not looking forward to missing cuts to my left more and more as now I guess as the difference between my vision gets more and more drastic. Right now I have no overlap at all between the vision in this eye and the vision in this eye. You used to have a little bit, now I have none. And that gap is widening as I get older. This eye, where I used to be able to see out 4 feet, now maybe only 3. This eye maybe I used to be able to see just fine at 3 feet, but now it's more like 6. And maybe in another year it'll be 7, 8, whatever. I know that at some point I'm going to have to make it so my 2 eyes are identical. Yeah, I could do something like wear contact in this eye or something like that. I don't want to do that. It seemed like I asked the eye doctor about doing something like that once, and she was basically, no, you don't want to have a contact lens in one eye and not a contact lens in the other eye. I don't remember why, but that's what she said, and I kind of believe doctors. They know more about the shit than I do. Like I said, sorry to disappoint any of you that might have thought I was a perfect specimen of humanity, but life is full of disappointments. Ah.